Advanced Research Methodology. Myself, Dr. Dharmendra Yadav, along with our respected convener, Dr. Parikshit Singh. We welcome to all of you. And it's really a great privilege for us that our today's resource person has joined us. So today's our esteemed resource person is Dr. Yusuf Akhtar. And Dr. Yusuf is faculty at Department of Biotechnology at Baba Saheb Bhimrao Central University, Lucknow. He did his PhD and his PhD from University of Hyderabad and postdoctorate from European Molecular Biology Laboratory, Hamburg, Germany. He has been DOD long-term fellow during 2007 to 9 and IMBO long-term fellow from 2010 to 2012. Dr. Akhtar has teaching and research experience of more than 10 years. He has more than 80 research publications in various journals of national and international repute. He has supervised more than 8 PhD students. He has been more than 15 awards in his credit for his outstanding research in the field of biotechnology. He is also a member of many national and international scientific bodies. He has delivered many invited talks in India and abroad. He is an associate editor of Frontiers in Genetics, BMC Genomics, BMC Microbiology, and Archive of Microbiology. He is the editorial board member of Scientific Reports and Protein and Peptide Letters. So he is a very active research and wonderful academician as well as a good human being. And he is so humble that whenever we request him, he always with the Science Tech Institute. And he is so humble that despite of his busy schedule, he is always available for Science Tech Institute. So welcome you, sir. And thank you for accepting our invitation. Can you hear me, sir? Oh, please unmute yourself.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Dr. Dharmendra, for this generous introduction. Could you hear me clearly, Anna?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So ठीक है, तो हम जो है सीधे टॉपिक पे आते हैं
जी
कि आपने बहुत अच्छा इंट्रोडक्शन दे दिया और हम अगला 1 घंटे से ज्यादा जो है 1 से 2 घंटे के बीच हम डिस्कस करने जा रहे हैं न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020 तो बेसिकली जो है मैं अपनी स्लाइड्स भी शेयर करूंगा, लेकिन पहले हम समझ लें कि इसको जो है मेन हम 4 भागों में इसको,
अगर पॉसिबल हो तो कैन यू शेयर योर वीडियो इफ पॉसिबल?
हाँ,
दैट विल बी मच इंटरेक्टिव.
हाँ, वेट अ मिनट, भूल गया था.
या थैंक्स.
सो अब हम इसको ब्रॉडली 4 भागों में डिस्कस कर सकते हैं. पहला है कि ये जो नई शिक्षा नीति, अब ये नई शिक्षा किसी भी कार्य को करने के लिए अगर हम देशव्यापी स्तर पे कोई कार्य करना चाहते हैं तो हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा, उसकी पहले नीति बनानी पड़ेगी. तो नई शिक्षा नीति है ये. अब इससे पहले भी शिक्षा नीतियां बनी हैं 2-3 बार, और आजादी के पहले भी कुछ शिक्षा नीति थी. तो जैसे क्या था पहले हमारा देश जो है गुलाम था, तो और उससे भी पहले वो छोटे छोटे रियासतों में बटा हुआ था. तो वहां पे क्या था, वो जो पर्टिकुलर रूलर्स थे, वहां पे लोकल रूलर थे, वो अपने हिसाब से, और जो हमारा पारंपरिक क्या कहते हैं गुरुकुल प्रणाली हो गई, या जो क्या कहते हैं धार्मिक क्या कहते हैं उससे ट्रेडिशन से पढ़ाई लिखाई का काम होता है, वो सब जो है चला आ रहा था. ठीक है. और जो रियासतों के राजा या छोटी रियासतों के राजा थे, तो वो अपने अपने हिसाब से कुछ शिक्षा की व्यवस्था जो है अपनी बना के रखे हुए थे. लेकिन 1900
sorry to interrupt because many of participants are from South India So they are requesting.
तो English.
Please, yeah, please speak in English.
Okay. So there was this from small states. There was their local uh, kings or local authorities. They were running some type of education system. So it was very first time. So Britishers also brought some started some kind of education system in our country, but the aim of their education system was very limited. So like you must have heard that the aim was to produce clerical staff, because East India Company East India Company was ruling our country, and their aim was to produce some clerical staff or low means just to cater their huge this huge uh, this imperialistic apparatus. So people criticize, means when you try to study about history of education systems in India, then basically you will learn about this Lord Macaulay policy of education, something like that. So in 1900, so our country was struggling with Britishers, and they wanted to they wanted to establish their own rule. So it was freedom movement was going on. So in 1900 there was first time this Indian National Congress, who was leading the freedom fight of our country. They first time started talking about in 1900. They started talking about national education. So it was the first time people have discussed that for whole country there should be some framework which should be common to all the villages, all the states from north to south. Whole of the India should be governed by some system, and that should be indigenous. That should be tailor made for our culture and our means and need of for our need to serve the need of our country. So uh, it was, but there was not much progress made during these times. And when India was become independent after 1947, then it was there was a lot of discussions, and how our national policy should be, and how it will be. So in 1964, first education commission was constituted by our first prime minister, and it under the chairmanship of Professor DS Kothari. So he was also UGC chairman at that time. So from 1964 to 1966, they worked a lot, and they have prepared a policy document. So first of all, so since then, after every 15, 20 years, governments try to update that policy, and they come up with because in these 15, 20 years, when the next policy comes, between that duration, a lot of educationalists, and we have more than 1000 universities in our country, and there are a lot of people. They discuss, they deliberate, they bring things in documentation by publishing articles, etc. So then means all scholars and means educationalists, they bring what is the requirement of our country, what type of education from primary education and middle school education. So from elementary to higher education, what is the need? What should it should be look like, so that our country's education niche will prosper and will give us all the needs, because if there is good education in the country, then only the country will prosper. Like in science and technology, if we need to prosper, then we should have a very good higher education and research in science and technology. Similarly, in other fields also, there are social sciences, there are there are other fields, all types of fields, and it's all are connected to it's the all the things are connected to the education uh, policy of the thing, means of the country. So so in 1968, this education policy, which was made, which was chaired by the committee was chaired by D.S. Kothari, who was the chief of UGC at that time. So that policy was implemented, and then there was then there was a second attempt. So after, like I said, after every 15-20 years, there was we have to update when people think that now other things should be implemented. So in 1986, so the first policy was called Education Policy of India in 1968, and in 1986 the next policy that was called New Education Policy, that came into existence. And in 1992, that policy was updated again, um, but only few amendments in the NEP 1986. After that, when first National Democratic Alliance government came, our Prime Minister was Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee. So since that time, it was thought that there should be a lot of requirement of a lot of changes, and new education policy should come into existence. And there was, in the meantime, uh, uh, work was going on, and our education ministry, which was at that time was called Human Resource Development Ministry. Now it is called Education Ministry. So it was thought that when our Prime Minister was Dr. Manmohan Singh, so at that time there was like some laws, they have made some laws like RTE, right to education, and it was continuous progress in this area. And when in 2014, second time National Democratic Alliance government, this BJP government came, and Smriti Irani was our education minister, or at that time it was MHRD, Minister for Human Resource Development. So there was a committee constituted by ministry, and it was chaired by uh, it was chaired by Professor Subramaniam, TVR Subramaniam. And in 2016 this committee was constituted, and they have submitted their report in 2018. But somehow ministry and the government, they did not like much his report, and then what they did, they have constituted one more committee, and it was chaired by Professor Kasturi Rangan. who was earlier, who was director of ISRO. So he was a great, means he was a great scientist of that means during his career, and after he retired after becoming director of ISRO. So then he submitted his 480 pages long report on what should be done to improve our education system in 2018, 2019, sorry, 2019. And based on that 480 pages, they have further worked on that, and they have made 71 page summary of that 480 pages report by Kasturi Rangan committee. And that 71 pages document is is presented to us in 2020 as NEP 2020, means New Education Policy 2020. So that one was in 1986 when Rajiv Gandhi was Prime Minister. Then it was NEP 1986, and now this one is NEP 2020. So this is the history. So now we should think, and we should understand that this is a policy document. So policy is what? Policy is a vision. Policy is vision, or policy is proposal. It is not like a legal document that every, means the government, whatever written there, government is not bound, or government is not bound, or government is, it is not mandatory that government will fulfill that. So the thing is, it is good that a lot of people and a lot of professors and scholars, they work on it, and they prepare this. And it is obvious that when we have some plan, then only we will make it successful. If we don't have any plan, if we don't have any dream, then basically we will not able to achieve that. This is obvious, you know? So means it is possible that every time, like this is from the beginning, like 1968 education policy, or 86 education policy, or this 2020 education policy, means it depends upon the government. If government want, then government will implement it completely. If government don't want, it will keep it in the cold storage for 10 years. So the idea is means it depends upon implementation. So, and that is also possible, and we have seen in the history that governments, what governments do, government, they basically they pick and choose. Like there are, let's say, 50 point in an education policy. What they will do, they will pick and choose whatever they think that if they will implement those points, then basically their vote bank or their popularity will increase. And if there is some point which basically increase the budget, or increase the public spending of money, so sometimes that is not good for government. So what government do? So then they will just skip. So it is not, first of all, we should understand that any education policy, that is not a legal document, that if they will not complete it, it is like manifesto. It is like manifesto of election. So you never know that it will be fulfilled or not. So you should understand this first of all. Okay, so now come to, when any government, XYZ, any government, it will bring a policy, let's say. So what people do, especially means normal people, they think okay, whether it will be good, whether it will be bad, what opposition parties do? They will just oppose. They will not think, they will not analyze, they will just oppose. Okay. So, and they will give some means, and what media do? Basically, media will propagate whoever shouts with more decibel. Let's say somebody, or who will talk more controversial things. Okay. So for example, this new education policy, like let's say, I will say like 1986 education policy, it brought computerization of education, very first time. So that was in 1992 and 86. There was push for computerization, for computer education. So it was criticized by opposition and media, that okay, this Rajiv Gandhi guy, he will bring what he will computerize everything, and then there will be loss of jobs. And I remember, I I have seen one newspaper photograph where Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee was opposition leader, and he went with this Belgadi, bullock cart, to the parliament at that time. So let's come to now this one. So for example, this one, when this one came, this education policy 2020, so opposition party, or the people who are not analyst, so we should be analyst, like our bread and butter is teaching, learning and education. So we should be analyst, we should not be activist. So what activist type of people or opposition people, like this, okay, this policy is brought by BJP government. So what they will do? They will do this is very common word, saffronization of education, or they are pro-capitalist. So what they will do? They will do commercialization and privatization. But when you read this 71-page document or 480-page committee's report, you will find nothing like that. This education policy is similar, like we have series, like the first education policy and the new education policy and this one. This is just extending what our educationalists, our scholars like Professor D.S. Kothari and or this other people, means Manmohan Singh or anyone, they brought a lot of things to education. So this government, and we should be thankful and we should clap that this government is also brought a policy which ensures progress of education in our country from middle school. So I will discuss several points. Actually, I wrote couple of newspaper articles, but those are in Hindi. So still, people who can read Hindi, they can search and read them. But I will tell here in brief what are the main points. So first, when some such policy comes, so what people or the eminent scholars or educationalists who sits like Professor Kasturi Rangan, he is a remarkable person, and if you just search and read about him, he's a great scientist, and he brought this ISRO, and good institutional administrator. So ISRO has a big name even in the world. So, and there was a team of professors who worked with him and a lot of policy makers. So I would say, so there are certain points certain points which basically which people think that if those means how they will make that this kind of policy should be made, there should be this point in that. So like if you there are data and education people who work in education, they have produced such data, and there are a lot of NGOs like in New Delhi there is one NGO, its name is Asar. Asar means effect. So its name is Asar. Asar is means Hindi Urdu word, which basically which if you will translate in English, it is effect. So that NGO they do a lot of work in this area. So what they brought that around 40% of uh, children who admitted to primary education in class first, they leave education before they finish their 5th class. And out of these, more than 40%, the maximum majority is of from scheduled caste, scheduled tribe community, and minorities and physically challenged students. So now you should understand that means our country means we have to work a lot to improve this situation. Then there are other challenges. For example, there is a World Bank report in 2018, which basically which its title is the Learning to Realize Education Promise. And basically it shows that Indian education, primary education, secondary education is lacking a lot, and the basic infrastructure like the campus, or like the proper sanitary, proper toilets, proper electricity supply, proper water supply, or libraries, or computer facility, these all are missing in most of the Indian schools. So see how challenging is to devise something, some policy to basically to overcome these problems. Then there is another thing, that the policy should be, means I am talking before the policy, and then I will come to the policy, what is there in the policy. So what points were considered when the policy was drafted. So then there is another thing, until we will include all the stakeholders, and stakeholders are whom? The stakeholders are the parents or the guardians of the children, the all the educationalists of India, all the teachers who are involved in this system to give education at primary level, at secondary level, at higher education, and all the people and the students also. If we will not talk to these stakeholders, we will never able to never able to make a solid policy which basically which will be able to solve our problem, or solve the problem of education system in India. So there is another challenge, like in means every time there is education policy is proposed, but and government went in the remote areas, in the villages, and state governments, because education is subject of state as well as the center. So like primary education is mostly subject of states. So they went into rural areas, they went into villages, and they have opened primary schools. For example, in UP, we belong to UP, means I belong to UP. So, but they were never able to make those schools of good standard, and it is a big challenge. So how the policy will be devised? And mostly these many schools, so there is one controller and auditor journal of India report in 2017 which shows that most of these schools, these primary schools in the rural India, these are run by single teacher. Means if a primary school is run by single teacher, will you will means can we say that this school is will be successful and will be able to give proper education to all its attendees? It is very difficult, because you if there are in every class there are 40 students, so there will be 200, 40 into 5, there will be more than 200 students. So for 200 students, there will be one teacher. And like I said before, from another reference I have quoted, that there is no proper sanitation, no water supply, no proper library facilities, computer facilities. So it is a great challenge to meet these things. And then in higher education, for example, this CAG report, this Controller and Auditor Journal's report, it quotes that in the higher education sector, in the universities and colleges, 35% of professors' position is vacant. 46% of associate professor position is vacant, and 26% of assistant professor positions are vacant. So this is a great challenge to meet these things. Then there is another challenge, that there is no good system of feedback for or quality control, means quality control by feedback. For example, we have, like in central universities, I work in a central university, so there is a feedback system, like after every semester we take a questionnaire filled by our students whether they are satisfied or not. So there is a long questionnaire, means they will ask whether teacher, means the classes, all classes were done, syllabus was complete, or concepts were cleared or not, something like that. So there is a long, but these things are just, khana purti, means just you do it because it is a, because the administrator is asking, and even students are not made full aware. They have no awareness that how to fill that, uh, how to score those criterias. And mostly either if they will like the teacher, because teacher is very nice to that student, or teacher is giving good marks, then they will give him 95%. So they should be trained, they should be trained that how these parameters should be filled. So this kind of challenges are there. There is no proper feedback that whether the teachers or professors are working good, or the vice chancellors or the director of the institutes, they are doing administration good, in a good way. So there is no good feedback system. And then there is, so from the first education policy, there is a there is a there is a means there people wanted to, means our educationists, and in the second in the second education policy and in the third also, there is proposal of 3 language system, that we should apply 3 language system. So three language system means the children will study till class 5th in the medium of his mother tongue, and then after 5th there will be English and Hindi, and along with the its mother tongue or regional language. But still means we are now on the third this education policy. But still, from first education policy of DS Kothari and the second education policy, in the second education policy also, they have proposed that this three language system should be applied. But governments have faced very strong opposition from non-Hindi speaking states, and they are not able to be successful. So like Tamil Nadu, if you will go to Tamil Nadu, then you will see only two languages. So how again they have in this education policy, I will come when I will discuss the points from this education policy, then you will see that this time also it is proposed, but they don't know how to promote that, and it needs very good integration and very good coordination between the center and the states. Then only it will be implemented. So now let's come to there are various suggestions. Then now let's come to the points, means what are in this education. So I have summarized like 12-13 points which I will discuss. So these 12-13 points you will see mostly broadly what new education policy says, this 71-page document. So first thing that it says, so there was I already referred this RTE Act. This RTE Act, Right to Education Act. So Right to Education Act was brought in 2009 by Dr. Manmohan Singh's government. And Right to Education Act says that from 6 years to 14 years of children have right to education. So from 6 year to 14 year children, they must have education, and government have to make sure. And that's why, so they have made several provisions. For example, these private schools, they have to take certain percentage of quota for poor students who will not pay that high fees, which is means they take means whatever they want that kind of fees. So, and there are, like I said, in that RTE, there were some standards made, like a school must have this many classrooms, or a school must have separate toilets for girls and boys, or for male teachers and female teachers, and a school must have this much number of teachers, a school must have library, a school, these kind of standards in this act. If you will read this act, then you have to means you will see this kind of things are there. So in this new education policy, what they did, they brought this point that previously RTE Act says from 6 years to 14 years of children must have right to education, and now this is expanded. So they made from 3 years to 18 years of children must have right to education. So anybody, means it doesn't matter, like I said, so like opposition parties or whoever, they make propaganda, okay, and they will obviously, means this is how democracy works, and that's why when government brings some policy, it will be cautious. So it will, for example, okay, there you can say, this government brought this policy. So policy document, if you will, like I did one thing, I took the PDF and I use control find, and I wrote secularism. So I did not find this word, and then I I tried to find word like reservation policy or something. So I did not find, but it doesn't matter. Means we we should not focus on words. We should focus what has been written and whether it should bring the education system in the better way. It should bring the education system, means our children and our next generation will get a better education or not. So, but it has word inclusive education many times. So it doesn't matter if, so political buzzwords doesn't matter much if it says inclusive education. So what we need, inclusive education, with equity, everyone, for everyone, and also for disadvantageous classes. So anyway, let's see another points, what another good points this policy has. So another point is, previously there was a midday meal program in the policy of primary education. So now what happened in this education policy, in this new education policy 2020, they have added provision of breakfast. So they have added provision of breakfast in the midday meal program. So we should, obviously we should say it is good. Anybody, all Indians, for all Indians, it is good thing, good message that they are adding, they are improving. Okay. So next point, so this is good thing, like I said. And breakfast, if we talk to uh, any people who study brain development, or who study child development, so you will know that most of the development of brain of children, it happened when the children are of very young age. So uh, so at that time, if there is provision of breakfast, then it will help. Okay. So like I said, they have expanded the RTE thing into, now the right to education is from 3 years to 18 years. So 3 years means before first class. So they brought, so next point is that, so they brought early child education thing in the policy, and that is because previously in government primary schools you would not have pre-nursery. So private schools will have pre-nursery, like nursery, KG. So now they brought, and I lived many years in Germany. There are two types of a school. First school is kindergarten. So that KG word came from there only. In that is basically German. Kindergarten is German word. So there, from 3 years to 6 years, children go to that kindergarten, and then they are shifted to real school. That is from class 1, real schule. That is the word. So same thing they brought in this education policy, they brought in our Indian education system. Okay. So now let's go to the next point. So like I said, early child education, that is very important, because most of the child's development and brain's development happened there. And if we will give this 3 language policy from the beginning, it will really help to develop our children. So next, this education policy has this education policy have a para on compulsory education to all poor people. But they don't talk how to achieve that. Obviously, they have given this thing that it is important, whether the individual is a woman or scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, or anything. All poor people should get education. So it talks about equity, but obviously it will it didn't say how to achieve that and how to get money from the government, how government will ensure that these kind of programs will be fully funded. It don't talk about that. Okay. So next is it talk about, so like I said about the challenges. So challenges are schools don't have proper like sports complex. Like if you go to West, if you go to Europe, or you go to UK, or you go to United States, you will see in the school there is a sports complex. Or even in the private schools in India, in the cities, you will see the sports complex are there, and library facility or computer facility. So they have given a very innovative plan. What they said, in the education policy document, that the, let's say, we are talking about all the middle schools, primary schools, or secondary schools present in a block or tehsil or a district. So what they said, you should develop cluster of these schools together. And what you do, because government should also think uh, from where it will bring the budget, from where it will bring the money which will be used. So they have suggested very innovative thing, that may make a cluster of these schools, like between 4 or 5 schools, you make sports complex, common facilities, a sport complex, a big library. So what you do, you make synergy of resources, you bring together. So at the end, means it is good idea, because it will give and in government school, many poor students, they go to there, and in many areas there is no school also. If you will go to, means there are a lot of data, means I came to know from the literature that there are good schools are very less, and government schools have these type of problems. So if you go to then there is next thing. So next point, it talks very good, like, so like I said, clusters, and then next time is recruitment of the teachers. So they have written, and in like states like UP or Bihar, or means our neighboring states like Madhya Pradesh, it is very bad state, and state of recruitment of teachers. So like they have discouraged like para teachers, like this Shiksha Mitra or this temporary contract jobs. And they have strictly suggested and instructed that there should be recruitment of well qualified teachers and regular teachers, because these para teachers type of positions like Shiksha Mitra and this contract teacher, or some means in UP we say Samvida, means contract teacher. So that kind of thing don't work, because they will get less salary, they will not have job security. So means they will not able to focus, and if they will not able to focus, they will not able to give good education to our children. So then there is, so this is means we should appreciate. And this is also harassment. This is harassment of people who have means who have chosen their career as a teacher. So we should appreciate these points. And then there is this is also a problem. Like, they have a directorate of education. In every state there is directorate of education, and this directorate of education is become a kind of, you know, commission agent. And state education ministries, they report to education ministries, but there is a lot of like black marketing, and they take a lot of bribe. So, and they become like you know, means they have to regulate, they have to fund, means everything is done by that directorate of education. So they have suggested that this kind of directorate system should be abolished, and there should be separate agencies. There should be separate agencies, like education board should be separate from the funding agency of the schools, and there should be another agency which should regulate these schools. So there should be 3-4 agencies, not a single one, and which is like become a bargat ka ped, or you can say a banyan tree, and like dealing everything. And there is a lot of corruption, and there is a lot of, means you must have have heard about Vyapam kind of scams. So there are in every state, means it is not dependent on what party government is there or whatever. We all know that there is a lot of this black marketing. And so this video has been stopped, Dharmendra. Dr. Dharmendra, could you hear me?
Yes, sir. No problem. Sir, if you have any slides, then please show.
I have slides.
Do you have any PPT?
Yeah,
okay.
But it is this this is disabled. Share
disabled
screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Please share your screen right now. Please share.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, means I wanted to show these slides later. First, I will finish these points, because then continuity will be broken. So means these slides I can give you, and you can give them later. So
okay,
so this kind of system should be abolished, and then separate agencies should work. So now come to next point, that again, this 3 language system we have already discussed, that 3 language policy. And that 3 language policy is good, basically, because 3 language policy means there can be a people can have a different opinion, but like it says, the student must study in their primary education in their mother tongue. So I think if governments work with non-Hindi speaking states with right consultation, then I think this is good point. Like a Tamil in Tamil Nadu, till 5th class medium will be Tamil, or in Karnataka the medium will be Kannada, or in Kerala the medium will be Malayalam. And from 6, this these three languages, the medium will be slowly changed into English from 6th to 8th, and there will be three languages could be studied as subjects. So it is good, means in my opinion it is good. Then there is another, now let's talk some points about higher education. So for example, in higher education, nowadays we see that in there are a lot of private universities, and what they will do, they will open only professional courses, like they will open medical, engineering and management, and then they will say this is a university. But university name, like in Lucknow there are many, like Integral University or this Era Medical University. There will be limited or Babu Banarsi Das University. So what they will have, they will have prominently these three professional courses where they can earn money. So this kind of professional courses in a university, this is against the term university itself, because university term comes from universe. University means everything present in universe should be existing in the university campus. It means all kind of basic and applied courses should be there in a university. So in this document, this is very good thing. In this document, this has been criticized. So I would say then government should come up with policy to abolish such universities, and they should ask to open all courses, all applied and basic courses. Then there is a big thing which this policy talk about, that like I said about primary education, this directorate system, primary and secondary education, there is a directorate system, educational directorate, and there is everything is managed by the same body. So in higher education also, UGC is such a body. So UGC is grant giving grants. UGC is making curriculum. UGC is giving recognition. UGC is doing regulation like NAC, etc. UGC is giving everything. Under the UGC, everything is there. So this should be also changed. Means grant agency should be separate from the curriculum development agency, and from the third one, the regulatory agency, which basically regulate and see if the standard is not met, then basically recognition should be cancelled, or whether some institution should be given equivalence of a university. That should be. So these are specialized things. So these should be done by independent agencies, and that is proposed in this policy. Then there is a very good thing they came up with. They have recommended to form an education commission. So education commission will be working like a planning commission, like this Niti Aayog, means they have made Niti Aayog. So in finance, so there, and they have so education minister with 30 educationists of top educationists of the university of the country should be the member of this commission, and it is chaired by education minister. So in the previous draft, when the Kasturi Rangan has submitted, it was prime minister, but later on people have given suggestion on the draft, then they have changed this to education minister. So education minister which will chair this and they will have one member recommended from each state. So there will be like, we have 30 plus states. So each member from states, and then 30 top educationists of the country. Means they will be professors or scholars. So 30 those, and 30 plus state representative, and chaired by the education minister. And they will come up with policies and change in policy time to time accordingly after deliberation. And they will met like Niti Aayog meets. And then there is one more very important point which is important, and that is fund. So in India, we never have budget for education more than 1.8% of GDP. Never it went more than 2% of GDP. 1.8% is the maximum limit till they have this giving out of GDP. 1.8% will be spent. This policy suggests you give at least 6% of GDP. So this is good. And then repeating governments, they never spend more than 10 to 15% of the recommended budget on the education. Whatever is the expenditure statement of a budget year by a government, it never went up than 15%. So they have suggested at least 20% of expenditure statement should be spent on the education. And means when they will make budget, then they should make 6% of GDP at least. So these are very good things. So in the end, we don't have much points to criticize this policy, but we can see there are many there are at some places there are many you can say contraindications also. So when I read carefully, then I found that at one place they talk about this expanding RT criteria, etc. But later on, they don't talk like right to education have given that like I talked that one school, ideal school, should have at least this much of teachers, this much of infrastructure, like drinking water and sanitation and toilets and computer facility, library, etc. They did not talk much about that. And there are other contradictions also, like in this policy they suggest there should be lateral entry and lateral exit. For example, they suggest like a master course is there. So after finishing 6 months of master course, if some student want to exit, so they should get like a certificate course, means like a certificate degree. And then in 1 year, if they want to exit, then they should get postgraduate diploma. And similarly, they suggested, but at the same time, in MPhil PhD program, they suggested to abolish MPhil. Although it is similar thing, if someone is admitted to MPhil PhD program, then if he want to, after 1 year, when he finished coursework or a certain level of research, then he want to exit. So he can take MPhil. After MPhil, if one don't want to do PhD, then he will go if MPhil program is there. But they have suggested to abolish MPhil, and at the same time they have suggested this lateral entry and lateral exit, which actually for many courses, because it is like a one size fit for all, but it is not applicable. Like I teach in biotechnology department. If somebody is doing MSc or any science subject, if somebody is doing MSc, if you will give a PG diploma after 1 year in chemistry or PG diploma in physics, what he will do? Because in basic sciences, master degree is like a training for going into higher education. If someone will exit with PG diploma, it is of no use. So I think there is a lot of things which should be fine tuned before it will be implemented. At the same time, they are talking a lot of time about institutional autonomy, etc. But there is a ironical that if in a university you want to organize a seminar even, or you want to organize a where you don't have to pay anything, let's say you have to write an application to the vice chancellor, so that vice chancellor will give permission that you can arrange that seminar. So there is this kind of little tricks and bits which should be corrected. So with this, I am coming to the conclusion. So this education policy promises or promised a lot of good thing, and like I said in the beginning, that education policy is a document. It is like a manifesto. It is like a promise. It is like a vision document, that what we will become. But it depends upon the government who is the implementation body. So, and government have to ensure that it will put funds also to implement those things. So otherwise, if you look at this document, 71-page document, it promise good things, and it will if overall you will see, it is a very good education policy, and it gives a hope for India's higher education, and also primary and secondary education system, this whole system. So with this, I would conclude, and I will give my slides to Dr. Dharmen, and then he may send all of you. And if you have any question or you want to discuss anything, then you're most welcome. I'm open for questions now.
Oh, thank you so much, sir,
Yes,
for
Dr.
your
Dharmen.
yes. Thank you so much, sir, for your so elaborative discussion and evaluation of new education policy. You have mentioned all the things very clearly, and I'm sure many of the participants have get benefited from it. They have known so many untouched points of new education policy 2020. And now this session is open for any questions or queries. Yes, you can unmute yourself.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, madam, please.
Hello,
Yeah,
sir.
please.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes, you are
Sir,
audible.
I'm Dr. Debjani from West Bengal, sir. Sir,
Okay, sir.
I want to know, sir. Many parents are seeking. Many parents have the tendencies to have the children with English language. So, what about
Yeah.
you think, sir?
I did not clearly get your question. So you want to ask that many children are studying in
Many
English
parents,
medium.
sir. Many parents.
Many parents are,
Many
they are,
parents.
yeah.
Yes, sir. Parents are seeking English language, seeking the education by the English language. Okay.
English
Yeah.
medium. Yeah, English medium.
Language.
So this NEP don't discourage that. Only till fifth class. Till fifth class, education policy says that it should be in mother tongue. Like you are from West Bengal, so till 5th class the education should be in Bengali medium, and from later on there should be 3 language policy. It means the student will study 3 language as subject, and medium could be according to their state policy, whatever. If there will be English medium, for example, I worked in Himachal Pradesh for very long, for more than 5 years. So in Himachal Pradesh, till fifth class, it is Hindi medium. But from 6th class, it is English medium. All government school. From 6th class onward, it is English medium. But Hindi is taught. Hindi and English is taught like a subject. So in three language system, after 5th, it could be in English medium. But 3 languages will be taught as a subject, as a separate subject. So there is no conflict. Did you get what I said?
Yes, sir. You well said, sir. There is no conflict, and there are already been government policies. But nowadays, the parental tendencies towards the English language, and as you know, that there are so many play school are there. So parents are wish to admit them in the English language school rather than the government school. Basically, in our
this is
so Bengali medium school are stopped.
Yeah, so this is a problem, because you know, if you go scientifically, so what you will find that if the kid in the beginning years, if the kid will be taught in that language which is spoken at his home, then kids development and comprehension power and ability to learn will be enhanced greatly. And after 5th class, we can slowly switch from 5th to 8th. We can switch to English medium. Okay, so it is a scientific fact that if children will be taught in the beginning years in that medium only, in that language, medium as a language, like in your case it is Bengali, है ना? So in that case, if you means children from West Bengal, they will be taught in their beginning years till 5th class in Bengali medium, then they will grasp the concepts, the fundamentals very quickly, and then we can slowly change from 5th to 8th, we can slowly change into English medium. So the same thing this education policy basically reiterates. It says again the same thing. So it is not new. Yeah. So this is So
I know, but parents they have not in that opinion. So
so that's why parents should be told or should be counseled that this is a scientific fact. Like if we say, if we want to teach a science concept, let's say simple machine or levers, if we will tell, because they are at home, they are speaking Bengali, or like in UP they are speaking in Hindi with their parents, Hindi, Urdu or Bhojpuri, and then in the class they will be taught lever and simple machine in English. So basically they get confused. First the concept will be built in the beginning years, and then later on after 5th class we can slowly change to English medium. I will give my own example. So I studied in Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya, that is government school, okay, central government school. There I studied because I came from a village school. So I studied. They have from 6th to 8th. They have slowly, like they started English medium from 9th, and from 6th to 8th, they slowly changing the syllabus in a way, curriculum in a way that I could grasp English. And in 10th class, I wrote all the my examinations in English. There is no problem. And I was studying three languages there: English, Urdu, and Hindi as a subject. So I think it is good concept. Like in your case, it will be Bangla and English and Hindi as a subject.
Yes,
And
sir.
from 6th to 8th, let's say 5th till 5th class, the children will be taught in Bengali medium. And from
Yes.
6th to 8th, slowly they can be changed into English medium. And from 9th, 10th, from 9th, 10th, they can be,
Hello, sir.
Hello,
Okay.
sir.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello,
Sir.
sir.
Yeah.
I have one question, sir. I am from
Yes.
Yeah.
Tripura. Dr.
Yeah.
Parthasarathi saying, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Hello.
one question. Already you sir
Yeah.
mentioned in West Bengal, like Bengali is the one language, mother tongue, then Hindi or English, three languages. Okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
sir,
Yeah.
in Tripura, there is a two predominant languages there. Kokborok is tribal language, and Bengali is also very predominant. And if in a very early level, that means 5+3+3+4 system में जो 5 system है ना, nursery to
Yeah.
1,
Yeah.
then these
Correct.
students are now they learn Kokborok and also Bengali, also Hindi or English. I think in West Bengal, there, Sautal is there. There are
Please,
some.
please mute yourself. Other people, please. Yes. Continue, Dr. Ghosh.
Yes, sir. This is one problem, sir. Because country like India, there are so many languages. And sir, one thing I
Yeah.
mentioned, how far it is possible from next year in each state throughout the country to start 5+ system. That means nursery and KG1, KG2, and 1 and 2 in the infrastructural level concern. How far it is possible?
Not possible, because let's say in the beginning itself I said that education policy is not a document which is a legal thing and government has to apply overnight or from next day. It takes time. They have to work on it, and they have to work with the consultation of state governments. And it is a policy document. Policy documents and vision for next 30 years. So
Yes.
like it came in 2020. This vision is for till 2050.
Yes, yes.
Correct. So
Yes,
so
sir.
it will take time. Like three language formula that was given by Daulat Singh Kothari, Professor
Yes, sir.
Daulat Singh Kothari in 1968.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but
Yes, sir.
but we need to understand that everything will not be implemented. It is impossible in the way. But
Yes, sir.
government will try to because we have made a vision. If it is not a jumla, then we have to work on it and we have to implement. There are many good things, like I have discussed 13-14 points, and means like if you want to criticize, then you can only find 10 to 15% things which you can criticize, but still it will be debatable. Even this three language thing, it is debatable because non-Hindi speaking states like West Bengal,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tripura or Tamil Nadu,
Exactly.
they have their own problems, or they have their own view or opinion on that. But if you think in a way like we all are a part of a nation, and we need to cater the needs of child's education. So like this thing, I think this is good thing to implement regional language as medium of instruction till 5th
Yes, sir.
class,
Exactly, sir.
because this is scientifically proven. Now the debatable point is implementing Hindi actually. like these south states or West Bengal or Tripura, they will have a point that why we should study Hindi. But you should think like a nation. If you will think like a nation, that Hindi is like a language. I will not say national language, again it is debatable, but the number of people who speak Hindi, if people will speak Hindi or English, it will connect us from rest of the states. So if we know Hindi, and means obviously Hindi is a dominant language if you count number of people speak, because there are many huge population states like UP, Bihar, and then Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Himachal, all north. So a lot of people, they speak Hindi or they know how to write in Hindi. So okay, means politics says something else, but we need to think that there is a logic behind that. So if someone will study English, if he will also study for the sake of national integration, Hindi also, it will not harm. Means this is my view. This could be debatable, but like that point that everyone should given till 5th class. The medium of instruction should be regional language. Everyone will be agree on this. No one will say no, because
sir,
this is scientifically proven fact. Yeah.
Sir, actually, through this webinar, I just asked to all my colleague here, if every state is equal opportunity to restructure their pre-primary level or infrastructure, classroom, teaching faculty, then it is started pre-primary education. That means nursery, KG1, KG2. If some state is able to build and other state is not lagging behind or not supposed to build the restructure of this kind of education, then I think it is discriminating state to state. And in the greater national interest, it is, I think, not so good. So we get some times to build every state.
Correct. So you remember when I started, I talked about when India was composed of small states.
Yes,
so
sir,
every state had its own that Gurukul or whatever, madrasa, whatever. Okay. So own education. That will not work because we are a nation. We need a policy which should be nationwide. Obviously, it should accommodate everybody's need.
Yes.
It should be accommodate, and it should be nobody should implement without, like, if I want to implement a policy on West Bengal, then I have to consult the stakeholders, the West Bengal people and West Bengal government. Then only I will be successful. Otherwise, it means it is not a dictatorship, na? But we should have some blanket which covers our whole nation.
Yes, everyone should get equal opportunity to get education.
Correct.
Every state,
then only
everyone.
Then only it will be successful. Otherwise, we will fail.
Yes, sir. Policy is good.
United.
Policy is good. The vision and mission of policy is good. But I think everyone, every citizen of India, every state, either it is small or large, everyone, I think, should get equal opportunity to implement this NEP 2020. Thank you, sir.
Correct.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Wonderful.
Hello, sir. Good evening. This is Srinath from Mysore, Karnataka, in South India.
Okay.
Good evening, sir.
Hello.
Sir, a couple of questions.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, one by one, please.
Yeah, sir. We used to have after 10th, we used to have something called +1 and +2, PU education, pre-university education.
Yeah.
What is the scenario in the new education policy? Do we have a common syllabus till 12th standard? We used to have something called art stream, science stream, commerce stream in +1 and +2. Will that continue or will that be abolished?
I think that will be continued. That will be continued.
Okay.
It will be continued.
Okay.
But in the middle school, like after 6, in the middle school, there will be also focus on skill development or vocational courses. But I don't know, means they have written this thing in the draft, means in the policy, but I don't know how they will implement that. Because I think students in India after 6th class, between 6th and 10th, they will not be mature enough that whether they want to become a carpenter or they want to become a, means any this low tech jobs. So they have written that there will be focus on vocational and skill development subjects.
Sir,
But like,
yeah, but it is mentioned at most of the location, it is mentioned as from the age of 3 to 18, compulsory and common education. That means up to 12th standard, whatever we are seeing, that becomes a common education. It looks
that is
like,
that is the goal and vision, but that will be how much they will be able to implement. For example, if you say common and exact same education, then from 3 years to up to 5th class, every state children will study the medium will be different. So it is not the same. Like you are from Karnataka, so in Karnataka, children will study in Kannada. So again, it is not same, na, because India is a diverse country, and we need to accommodate everyone. It's not like somebody sitting in the Delhi and he will dictate the terms, then it will fail.
Sir,
So that's the weird.
Yeah, please throw some light on this degree education. It used to be a 3-year course now, and there is a plan, like, it will be a 4-year course henceforth. And is there any PG course will be there, or directly after this 4 year they can get into PhD? What is that? Please give some light on that.
So see, there is if you go and check, like United Kingdom or USA or European countries, so you will have everywhere you will have 4-year graduation, and usually you have means you have multiple option after finishing your undergrad. So after finishing your undergraduation, means bachelor degree, you directly go to PhD, or if you want, you can do a master's degree course. So same thing will be standardized. This 3-year bachelor, it is nowhere in the Western countries. In Europe, in UK and USA, everywhere there is this 4-year degree program. So to make it more, and actually in 3 years you miss something. Like now it will be there will be more practical components in the undergraduation. So like you will have a dissertation at bachelor's levels. So this new policy, it indicates. So it will not able to tell how you implement. For example, it says that you can do credit transfer from one university to another university, but it will be very difficult. Means first they may try to do between central universities, for example. But like, let's say somebody in a state university, he finished 1 year of post graduation, and he want to go to the central university in the 2nd year of post graduation. I think it is the vision, but it is difficult to implement that. For example, in Bangalore, now I will talk. Somebody has done from Bangalore City University. Somebody has done PG first year, and he want to go to ISC Bangalore in the 2nd year. Actually, that is not very easy. Correct. Because then they will say, so that's why vision is because we need to make it possible, and we will be able to make it possible only when everyone everywhere there will be a similar course. Otherwise credit transfer is not possible. Like Bangalore City University, that is a state university. Yeah, and ISC Bangalore is a
national level
institute. Yeah, it's institute. So somebody cannot go from there to there because the standard of courses or curriculum is different. So that's why this is a vision, but whether we will able to achieve that, it is a long-term thing. Yeah.
Sir, one last question, sir. Sir, we have also seen that there will be three types of higher education. One, research intensive institutes, and the second one, education intensive. A third one, degree awarding institutes. That is what we have read. So every institute should award a degree on their own, or if they are not capable, they should get clustered with some other college, so that it will be affiliated from the universities. So then what is the fate of these universities then?
Means they see this affiliating universities. Previously there was concept of affiliating universities, and slowly it is discouraged because it is if you will see all such affiliating universities, the level of education and standard is not good. If there is a university which don't affiliate colleges, because it is difficult to govern, you know. If you will find like JNU or BHU or other Hyderabad University, or these universities have maintained because they are campus universities. Now in DU is also top university. But if you go to DU affiliated colleges, there is a huge difference. At one end there is St. Stephen's and Hindu College and Venkateswara College, means the top ones. And then at the lower end there is Dayal Singh College, there is Deshbandhu. Nobody knows. Please mute. So you understand. So DU is not able to maintain the same standard in all colleges because it is affiliated.
So we'll have cluster of colleges which they themselves, they'll start awarding the degree. Is that so?
Yeah. So they will make because this like huge systems, like DU have I don't know how many colleges. Like similarly in UP there is like Kanpur University, and then there is Allahabad State University. They have like 100 affiliated colleges, something like that some years ago. So standard was going down, means like it was becoming like rubbish. So it is better that few colleges they cluster together, and then there is some authority, regulating authority, which look at that and they maintain the standard, something like that.
Sir, when is this expected to be implemented? Is it will that be implemented at a common time across India?
No, means they have started, like in Central Universities. I am in Central University.
Okay.
So in our university, like we are now calibrating our this course design, course curriculum according to that. But like within the university changes you can do, but when it is between two systems, for example, like I shared that concept of credit transfer with you. So then it needs at a greater level. Like if they want credit transfer between all central universities, then it will come from Education Ministry, Central Education Ministry. That we cannot do. Yeah, so it will take time. It will take a lot of time, and like I said, it is not like legal document.
Yeah, correct.
It is just It is a policy. It is a vision document. Yeah.
So in higher education, you can also shift from one stream to another stream in between, multiple entry, multiple exit sort of thing. You can go out of one stream and come back again after some time or something like that.
Yeah, means this is the primary idea. Now they will slowly, when they will implement, then they will see a lot of because there is always difference between theory and practical. So first it is just a theory now. Now how much of this will be converted into practical and how much will be go into like people have made vaccine in the vaccines and drugs in the lab, and then it goes to the field, and then there we see how much successful it is or how much we implemented, something like that. So these all are ideas based on means educated analysis.
Yeah. So thank you very much, sir. There are a lot of other participants who will be asking questions. Thank you very much. Very informative and very nicely presented, explained, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Dr. Dharmenji.
Yes, sir.
So if there is any more questions.
So there is a question. There are questions in the chat box. So we can.
Okay, I will check. Yeah, I cannot. Where is the chat box?
Sir, you can stop sharing your screen.
Now I can see. Okay.
So there are questions.
As you said, a very little amount of GDP or any get is being spent till now. So it is clearly mentioned there that particular percentage of GDP would be spent. Means this is suggestion. This is vision that 6% of GDP should be given in the budget. Okay. Now it depends upon the government whether they want or they will be able to spend 6% of budget or not. So NEP 2020 is very vital for revamp of our education system. All of we should come forward. Okay, so this is not a position in.
Yeah, so there is a there is a query from Mahua Bardhan. She is asking that is it possible in reality to handle 4-year bachelor degree in every college with limited faculty and infrastructure which are already burdened with weird combination of CBCS? Will it restrict the role of almost 1,000 university to research purpose only?
Yeah, correct. So 4-year degree program thing means obviously they have to implement something. First they have to strengthen or they have to put that infrastructure and means homework. They have to do homework now whether it is possible, and then they should obviously 4-year degree is better. There is no question about it. And like this vision document says that there will be more practical aspect in the undergraduate degree. So they will have a dissertation at the end of the degree for 6 months or 1 year. So they have to increase this from 3 years to 4 years, and they have to make it a standard. Whether so at the moment it is some degrees are 3 years, some degrees are 4 years. So that is ambiguous. Means it is the implementing authority that it has to think and it has to spend money on that. Okay. Yeah, Dr. Yadav.
Yes, sir. There is a question from Minu Agrawal. She is asking, Hindi का इतना विरोध क्यों? Is Hindi only regional language like Malayalam, Marathi, Kannada, etc.? English is necessary for worldwide knowledge, but hesitation in speaking Hindi. Why?
ये तो मतलब this is a debatable question. Now I am Hindi speaking, so I would
Yes,
say,
yes.
but actually I put the point like we want to connect to the world. So for
Yes,
connecting
of
to the
course.
world, we use English, and we want to connect to our own country's people, na. And
Obviously,
if you go by number, so the hugely populated states means from Madhya Pradesh, you start from Madhya Pradesh and you go up till Jammu. Means
yes,
Kashmir is different and Jammu is different. Till Jammu, all states means this Gujarat and Rajasthan and Himachal and Jammu and then Uttar Pradesh, Bihar. These all are people know Hindi speaking, and Hindi means variant. There is a dialect, different dialects, but they speak and they write. So for South people or for
northeast,
East
northeast
people,
people. Yeah, there are some problem.
Northeast people and Eastern India people, it will be good if they will know speaking and these things. And actually, like Northeast people, they suffer from a lot of discrimination, etc. So it will when they go to Delhi or Mumbai or these places, if they will speak Hindi, maybe this will also go down, I think, because they will be more integrated.
So, sir, at platforms such as academic platform or in our universities or in our classrooms, our basic
Yeah,
purpose is to communicate with our students or participants.
correct,
So
correct.
the medium, some medium which is equal for everyone, we will prefer that. But
Yeah,
in our domestic environment, we will always prefer our mother tongue.
obviously. So like you said, I was plan means it was my plan to speak in Hindi, but
Yeah, but
as you have I switched. So
yeah,
we should be able to
yeah.
like, and I think I did justice, and people have got what I have explained everything, even
Yes,
in
yes, because
English.
many participants requested that they don't know Hindi, so
Yeah,
please speak in English. So as
yeah.
a
So
organizer,
I think,
as a,
yeah, means I think I was able to convey. Yeah.
yeah. So thank you so
So
much, sir. And
yeah,
there is another question uh, which we can take. There is a question from Dr. Poonam Yadav. Sir, is this
yeah.
education policy helpful in completing the sustainable development goals? If yes, then how?
Means sustainable development. You want to say? Obviously, we want to modernize our education system every time, है ना? And we want to make it more employable. We want to charge the students with skills which are giving them jobs also. And also we need to like okay, so when I was telling you that what kind of fear people have, like means this government will saffronize the education, or they will privatize or commercialize the education. And then there was also fear that they will destroy the liberal education, we go into higher education, we become a scholar and philosopher type of thing, means we do PhD and research in like social sciences and technology, etc. So but like I said, this means sustainable means what? It should have all the component, so that it can serve, it can help Indians, because this is India's education policy. So in the long run, it will help India to become a knowledge hub, something like that. So it should have multi-dimensional approach. So that is there. If you look, it is also, it talks about higher education, it talks about employability, it also talks about okay, I did not cover one point, it talks about more fellowships. And from its origin, uh, India is going to make National Research Foundation, NRF. So National Research Foundation will, so all the funding agencies for research will be abolished, and there will be a single National Research Foundation which will fund sciences, humanities, social sciences, technology, everything. So ideas are very good. And then if it will be implemented, even I would say 60% or 80%, if it will be implemented in next 30 years, then we will become a really knowledge hub in 2050. So it is sustainable. जी, Dr. Yadav.
So there is a question from a person who is asking, who is, I think, yeah, sir talk was extremely useful. In Kerala, till 5th we learned Malayalam. 6th onwards we learned Hindi and English. Means it was there in 1980s.
Correct.
Okay.
So it is same, because
how it will be in union territories like Chandigarh and Pondicherry.
Means it depends what regional language they use. Like in Chandigarh, so Chandigarh they will have obviously Punjabi.
And Pondicherry
Third language will be Punjabi. Or Pondicherry will have Tamil. In Pondicherry it will have Tamil, third language.
Sir, one more question, sir.
Yeah.
Is there any guidelines mentioned about the fee structure for the school education for a private institute? Say, for example, for an engineering college in Uttar Pradesh, there is a fee structure defined by the state government usually. Only that much fees they have to take. But it is not applicable for school education. Some schools, they charge so much that even, it is...
so there is, see, they did not talk particularly about that, but their intention is clear that they want to raise the standard of government schools. Basically, if government schools are good, then these private schools will be killed automatically. But what happened in practical? Basically politicians, when they become ministers, they don't improve government thing. And then it work in practical, it works opposite to the principle. So government school people, although if you take the teachers of government school and you compare with the private school, always the government school teacher is more qualified.
Yes.
Because they come into the job by beating some competitive exam and good interview.
Yeah, that is so there.
Okay.
That is so there.
So yeah.
But my point is, see, the private schools, they charge so much, but they pay less.
Yeah.
On the other hand, government, they take less money for the government, institute, but their payment will be good. This difference should be, it should be equalized.
Yeah, but that is not their concern. When somebody will design a policy, then they are talking about state-run stuff, means schools, higher education, everything. No, they will not. Although because regulating bodies are different, means regulating bodies are same for private institution and government institution. So they talk about regulation. They talk about regulation, but they bribe the private institutions. They bribe, and like I talked, they are bringing universities which have only 3 disciplines: engineering, medical, and management. This is its means university name is means comes from universe.
Correct.
Universe means everything.
Yeah, correct.
So it don't fit. It don't fit. It is wrong concept.
I have a question, sir. I'm Bengal,
Yeah.
from West Bengal,
Yeah,
sir.
madam, yes,
Yes,
please.
yes, sir. Sir, in our West Bengal state, there is a jila that is Purulia. Huh? So
Yeah.
Santal tribes are living there. 1 year before,
Yeah.
sir, they called for strike. They have the demand to introduce the Olchiki languages as mother tongue because they are the first generation learner. So, sir, my question is there any possibility for any government to introduce multi languages mother tongue, multi mother tongue language?
Obviously, it is state government's means authority to decide. Like one professor from Tripura, he was telling that a few districts speak. There are three languages like Bengali, and then there are tribal languages.
Yes,
So
yes,
it
yes.
is, and also they have to see feasibility. If the teaching material is available in that language, or someone will prepare those material in that language, whether government have people who are able to produce teaching material, books, etc. So we have to see the practicality also, no?
Yes,
But
sir.
it is all state government subject.
Yes, yes. But
Sir, I have a query.
Yeah.
Query or suggestion or anything, because I'm also from the Hindi medium belt and rural background, and
Yeah.
I think that this particular national education policy has uh, you know they have encouraged the private universities or institutions for higher
Mhm.
education privatization. Is there any such provision in this NEP?
I don't think there is any clause which encourages privatization or this commercialization of education.
Education. So it's
Yeah, there is
just
there is
only
nothing. It talks
only
about
about.
how to strengthen
Mhm.
government system basically. It don't talk
because
about
in
private.
in our in a country like India, there are so much marginal rural or poor population. If
Yeah.
this education will be commercialized, then they will never attend the higher education,
See,
because
this is, yeah. So this
because
this is this
yeah.
is very good question, and actually, partially I have talked about it. So it is a vision document, and like politicians are free, na? They will say, okay, that was Jumla. So what we will do? So this is very good, but in practical, what is happening? If you will see, so I was when I was studying in my masters, the fee was means in government universities, the fee was like 2,000 rupees. In Lucknow University, I
Yeah.
did my BSc.
Yes, yes.
So
Same, sir.
I
In 2011, it was 2,500 when I did
yeah,
my
and
MSc.
yeah, I did my I did my BSc in 2002 from Lucknow University,
Oh,
and
it means.
I paid 1,200 rupees,
Oh,
1,200
yes, yes.
rupees every year. Okay, and now
Oh,
look at Ambedkar University is a central university, but if you will compare, the fees are quite high compared to that. And even if you go to new central universities, like I worked in Central University of Himachal Pradesh for 5 years,
yeah,
there even
yeah. They
more
have.
fees is there.
Yes,
If
yes,
you go to JNU and you go to Aligarh Muslim University, there is still fees is less.
yes.
So it they means they talk in the like policy document very nicely, but it will be inclusive First of all, you should not increase the fees, and you should arrange affordable and subsidized hostel facility, and then mess facility. But it is not happening everywhere. Only big universities, top 5 universities, means this Delhi University, AMU, BHU, JNU, Hyderabad University, these universities, you will see even in IITs the fees is very high. So what is the point? How the poor from, because 75% to 80% population of India is very poor. Now again there are a big lobby of capitalist or this industry people or this pro capitalist people. They will say you are talking, you want freebies.
Yes, yes.
if we have 80%.
I have heard many times that some professors are always saying that this higher education
Freebies.
not should be for everyone.
Not for everyone. So this is bullshit. So I stayed more than 6 years in Germany. So in Germany there is no tuition fee, zero. And
because it's
and
not
today
a
also.
Profit.
Yeah, it is not for profit.
It is a duty. It is a duty of government to provide the health education.
Yeah, government takes so much taxes. Like, so people will say you pay taxes. We pay GST, and previously we were paying VAT. So everything means government education and health. It should not be for profit. It should be for welfare of the people, and it is right. Yes. It is right of the people. So this is very clear.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir, for such a wonderful discussion, and I hope you have touched many untouched things of our new education policy, and participants have get benefited from it. So thank you so much, and thanks to all the participants for their patience. So thank you. And slides will be given to you. Please, sir, forward your slides.
Yeah, sure. So
I will send so that we can give it to the participants.
I will send you immediately. So okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thanks all.